Well, hello friends, and welcome back to a new episode of the TypeScript Tea Time. I'm your host Mirko and hope you're having an awesome day today. We're going to continue on our subscription service. In this case, it will be unsubscription. At least that's what I'm going to do today. For whatever reason, my microphone is not as large as it was the other days. Well, that should be better. All right. Yeah, exactly. So we basically finished with our subscribe endpoint. So what does this do? Our service is basically email subscriptions. Let's say you have a blog, and whenever you post a new blog post, you want that an email is automatically sent to your subscribers, at least those that have subscribed to your newsletter in particular. And we're basically building the backend for this kind of automatic newsletter or blog post newsletter thing. We finished the subscribe endpoint. So the user is on your website. You have a little form inside of there. He puts in or she puts in the email address and then clicks on OK. And this triggers an API endpoint, or it sends a post request to AWS API gateway, our /subscribe endpoint, which in itself triggers an AWS step function, which we use to basically orchestrate the code that we have. And by now, this is everything inside of here is not there anymore. Currently, we only have these two steps, which makes it very, very simple. We will have more. I gotta get back to that at some point, I guess. I think for today, I just want to do something fairly simple, I think. We are going to instead work on the unsubscribe endpoint. It's going to be fun. We have like two options I think about. So at the very, very bottom right up here, you see that I've written down our to-do, first being check our options to unsubscribe, one being SFN, so step functions, which is basically implement this workflow that I've written down here. And I don't think we need this second step here. And the other being, there is a simple email service, SES, the service that we're using to send emails, to send templates, to save contacts and whatnot. They have an option to actually include like an unsubscribe link. You know, at least want to check that one out ever so slightly before we go with SFN, which we probably do to have like customization on the email link. In particular, like let's say the localization would probably not be provided by SES, I don't think. So let's maybe write that down, that we're actually going to check SES inbuilt unsubscribe link. Maybe do it like that. So let's do that. Let's see. So I think we have to go to AWS SES email sending, or send email. And inside of there, I do remember we have something like unsubscribe, or how did they call it? Email receiving, verifying. This is not what we're looking at. We want to set up email sending, probably using the API, sending a formatted email. Or was it in the best practices? Identity information. That might also be interesting. Do they have a Rust API by now? SDK for Rust. Oh, I didn't know. Where do we have this? Monitoring, code examples, actions, scenarios. Maybe scenarios. Generating, verifying an email identity and send messages. Sounds to be what we are looking for. Kind of. Not quite. Security. Nope. Where did I find that? That's the big question here. Maybe I still have the node where I wrote it down. Maybe I don't. Maybe I have it in here. I'm in the wrong directory, first of all. So I think inside of simple email service, I took a node here of at least this one, which is not what we are looking for. Did I not take a note of it? I was fairly sure that I did. Ah, here we go. There we go. I think that's it. Oh. And see CryptoDev.
CryptoDev 0322
welcome
joined our tea time.
Good to see you. How are you doing today? We're working currently on AWS with step functions and simple email service. So I wanted to just open this browser, and now I can hopefully open this. Using list management is what I should have been looking at. And I think down. Subscription management, maybe it's there. Ah, here we go. Indicate the location of your unsubscribed links. When utilizing list management options, you have the option to enable Amazon SES to add unsubscribed footer links in your email using simply this. That's it. Oh, that sounds easy. Placeholder to specify where SES needs to insert the unsubscribed URL. Placeholder replacement is supported only for HTML and text content types. Yeah, sounds good. Using the SMTP interface to send email, you can use the XSES list management options header to specify a list and topic name. Not sure whether this helps us, but this one definitely does. So what we need to do is we have to change the template that we already have. So what are you working on, CryptoDev? You do sound like a developer, maybe in the software stuff, security direction, or is it about cryptocurrencies? So let's see. I think I have a link somewhere to the CLI. Maybe I don't. It was in here, right? There we go. So let's go to the CLI documentation of AWS, and in here we have create template, email template. Like so, and we probably also have update email template. Let's see. Update email template. And we want to use you, my friend. SES v2 to do the following. We want to, we have to provide the template name, which was, I think, email newsletter welcome, apparently. And then we have to provide the template content again, which is also, somewhere we already have like email template, I think. There it is. Do we not have create for that? Create template, that's what we used. So it looks similar to this, except that on the one hand, we need to fix this, the TypeScript team. I'm not part of the TypeScript team. And inside of here, TypeScript time, team. We also, I think, let's just fix a couple of these bugs while we're at it. One being, there needs to be another P. There needs to be another \P, I think. So this is one sentence. Hey Sodium, good to see you. Yes. Welcome back. How are you doing today? So here's a P. Wait. Hello, email, \P. Probably also a break. I'm working on the... So since we finished the subscribe, at least in its version 1, or version 1.1, let's say, I want to go over to the unsubscribe, and in particular I want to double check all the CLI commands that I've written down. That's why I want to do this unsubscribe first, so that we can basically go through the blog post, or the prepared blog post, and we just have to change a couple of these CLI commands to work for the unsubscribe. And basically I still have, because I have to double check that everything works, right? For the subscribe. So instead of doing that manually, I just do it for the unsubscribe and notice when something is wrong, right? So that's like, and also make a stream out of it, which is like 3 birds with one stone. That's the idea. So for the first one, there's another option. Instead of actually directly using, again, our step functions and the API gateway, we can use this Amazon SES unsubscribe URL by just placing it inside of our, where did it go? Inside of our template. So we can like say break right here, and then we do P \P. I'm not sure how this rendered, so we will see this in a minute. Example. To see how it actually looks. Maybe it's just a string, just the URL. If so, we can like put this into an anchor tag, make it nice, and just use this as an href. But I did not find an example of where they are actually using this. Yeah, this one is also not using it apparently, even though. So yeah, that's the first thing that I want to check out. Oh, wait. Okay. No, that's a very silly error. he had another E inside of there. Yeah, I don't know how this renders, and that's why test email. Oh, thank you. Also not inside here. So we just have to try it, I guess. What are you doing today? So we have our P inside of there. And I mean, just for the lols, we can also do like, oh, no space, P \P, an anchor tag with href equal to, I think we have to use strings inside of here again. Oh, wait. These are now strings inside of strings inside of strings, so we have to use escaped characters, I think. Right? Yeah, because we do use double quotes here already. And here we put U. Then we say \A right there to finish the anchor tag. And then we say something like click here to unsubscribe. All right, let's try it. First of all, we have to call this endpoint, which is now update email template. Do it. Unknown parameter in template content. Is this version 1? Content, subject, text, HTML. Oh, this is using subject part. Why do they use subject part here? The other one, version 1 maybe? Template, create template, delete template, get template, list template, send template, email, update. Oh yeah, that's it. Template content, template. Yeah, so we need to use in this case SES version 1. Then we have template name, subject part, text part, and so on. Yeah, looks good. And then it's just update template minus template, no content. And maybe that should do it. Yeah, very good. AWS, SES, list templates. There it is. Probably something like get template, minus template name. Yeah, that worked. So, welcome to the TypeScript Tea Time newsletter. Thanks for signing up, blah, 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 blah. And we see down here the unsubscribe URL and also inside of an href. Very good, so that worked. That means we can create another fake email so that I can actually try this. Because I do not have access to the template. Oh, do we? Is that the same one that we had last time? AWS, SES very 2, list contacts. Would you look at that? That's actually the same IP, email address. Very nice. I didn't know that you actually get the same one with temp mail. Nice. That means I can first unsubscribe and then I can resubscribe. So testing or using the automatically generated unsubscribed link in the email footer. Yes, auto-generated. Like so. Meaning we need to AWS SES v2 delete contact, and in this case the email is slightly different. I want this one. Bye. Thank you for being a subscriber. You will be a subscriber in just a minute again. So let's copy this name. I think we have somewhere our test. There it is. Let's just copy it up and change the email and send the request. But that worked. I think we can also change the response, by the way. There was an API endpoint for that. I just didn't do it so far yesterday. So now we should have an email. I hope so. Email is still empty. Oh, that's not great. That is not great. So we have a message ID. So that seemed to have worked. We have template data, this and that. Very good, very good. And I think that should actually be correct. It stays empty. That's not as great. Why do we not see it? Sometimes it takes time. Yeah. Let's hope that's the only problem. Let's hope. Let me quickly double check who I use as a source here. Yeah, that seems alright. And judging from the content, we don't count as a virus, I think. Try a different one. Yeah, that might be an option. Let me refresh this once more. That didn't work, okay. So let's go into porn mode. Temp email. This should give us a new one. Yeah, perfect. Before we can actually use this, because I'm in the sandbox, we have to create an identity. And let's look at the documentation here. Apparently I have to call this API a different site. Ah, yeah, that might be also be an ID. Hey, Viper Gaming. How are you doing? Good to see you having a good day. Yeah, thank you so much. Hope your day is great as well. We're having some fun with AWS. Let's first try the same provider but a different email, because I know we got this working the other day. That's why I'm fairly positive that it should work at least. So let's take that one. We don't have it verified. At the very least, this API request works. Let's take this dude and go to our test inside of here. Viper, how did you... Were you here before? Not yet, right? Because it says you're a first timer. If so, welcome. This is a TypeScript Tea Time. Here's to you. We're currently doing some coding with AWS, which is basically the backend that you don't see when you're using Amazon. Most of it is actually using that one. And they provide infrastructure for all kinds of services that run on the internet. Half of the internet is probably using that service. Or maybe like 30%, probably, maybe more. Did we get an email? First of all, we got our email from our confirmation email, which is good. So let's do that. I hope that did not change my email. Thanks, but I wish it was better. Been working on my website every day. Everything is ready and published, but no one can access my website, and that is super annoying. Please try accessing it. Let me see. So where are you hosting it? Maybe that's the first question I would ask in that case. But other than that, yeah, try to put in a link in the chat, and I will actually click on it in the right window. I gotta be sorry. I'm a dude on the internet who gets email links from random people, so I gotta be kind of careful, in particular if it's self-hosted stuff, right? Nothing against you. It's just a general attitude that I have to take, unfortunately, to protect. Feel free to post the link. I will click on it in this porn mode, kind of. Now the email is empty. Come on, you can do it. Please give me the same email. Yeah, very good. All right, so that worked. It is now, our email is now able to to receive emails from us. Normally, if you're in production mode, you don't need to do that. But very good, you're developing a website. Congratulations on that one. And awesome that you've gone so far as to actually publishing it. Are you using Popos? What is Popos? Pop OS, maybe? I haven't heard of it. What is this? Pop OS? Oh yeah. Pop OS. A Ubuntu-based Linux distribution. Oh yeah, okay. No, I'm using just the very old, the very old Ubuntu 18. You have your own web server. Oh, you have it on the Raspberry Pi and connected with the domain name to your website. Wow, that's something definitely. Cool, very nice, very nice. Yeah, feel free to drop in a link. And so no one can access it. Developers blocks. That's a good domain name. Let me push this here for just a second. Yeah, it's not reachable, unfortunately. Maybe sometimes you have the problem that you're not allowed to use www, but that doesn't seem to be the issue here. You can, if it seems to be something with the DNS maybe. So there is, depending on whether you're using, if you're on Windows or whether you're on Ubuntu or anything like that. I don't know, debugging DNS. I forgot all the names of the tools that you can use. Dig is, I think, one, and then you can. There's slightly more to it, and then you can see how it actually resolves the DNS. You can access it yourself. So, because that's my first guess if I see this. I have it still in the. But the domain name from GoDaddy and the DNS they have is not working. Yeah, probably email error address unreachable. Yeah, then there's you're not running on HTTPS, are you? Because currently it's using hold on, // that's not the issue, right? Because you need to be aware of that it's depending on whether you're using HTTP versus HTTPS, and also whether you have set up something for the subdomain www, because some domain providers do not automatically redirect or link this one to the plain URL, which can be annoying. So, do we get an email here? Doesn't seem to be the case. Why not? That's annoying. I will actually go one step further than just switching the provider of my email hosting. Instead, I will try to send it from the CLI once more. We have it right here somewhere. Send templated email. Destination. Like so. And the email is this. Source is that. And let's try this one. It has at least sent something. What could be the issue now? Where's my actual window? There it is. Okay. And we didn't receive anything in here as well, right? Probably. Nope. Empty. Oh no, it's still loading. Because yeah. Let's see. It is maybe your... Yeah, try to use something like dig to see how it is resolving. Maybe you find that your local firewall or something is blocking access to your Raspberry Pi as well. If you find that the DNS works, then it might, because then it should show your external IP. You can get your IP by just calling what is my IP, and then Google tells you what your public IP is. And from there you can, if you have if dig this program to see how your DNS record is resolved points to the right email IP address, then you probably need to check whether and it must be the public ID in the record, in the DNS record. Be aware of that, not your local 164 and 192. That's most likely the wrong one. It's probably something like, yeah, in the below 100, I think. Don't remember correctly. For the public IP, and then you have to set your firewall also up so that it can actually receive something on the IP, and it must be on the rest. It must probably be on the router if you're running it on your local, and you must do it also on your Raspberry Pi if you're running Ubuntu or anything remotely Linux stuff, then it's ifconfig, I think, that you need to call. But it's a bit low level for me, so I'm not 100% sure of. I would need to debug this as well. There are other people that are way more comfortable with setting up DNS and firewalls and whatnot. But maybe that helps to at least have some points where you can try to pinpoint the actual issue. If you want to test it, by the way, you can just, if you have a mobile phone with mobile data, you can try to access your website from your mobile phone while you're not in the Wi-Fi. Then it goes via the public route, and then you see whether it works or not, like a normal user would, because you're not on your local network anymore. All right, why is this not working? Kind of a bummer. So let's go to our invocations here of our step function, newsletter subscriptions. It looks... this is PM, very good. Yeah, that seems to be the call that we've made a couple... Yeah, DNS can take some time sometimes. That's true as well. Sometimes you have to wait 1 or 2 days for it to actually propagate to everywhere, so that you can actually find it. That's true. Good point, good point. Yeah. So why is this not working? So what does this one receive? It receives reware. Hey, you see that? The cat even said bye. Yeah, thank you so much for joining in. Good, fingers crossed on your setup. feel free to subscribe, by the way. Sorry, follow. Which one is it on Twitch? It's just the one where you don't pay money. And then I'm very curious what the actual error was. So feel free to come back in and then like tell us the story. Yeah, you're welcome. Hope everything works. Let's see. So test started, test succeeded. Oh, very good. We actually see the detailed output inside of here as well. I was kind of worried about that. What do we have here? Elapsed time, okay. We see U input detailed truncated, no, false. Oh, this would have, if I would have looked at this way earlier, if I've noticed this way earlier, it would have been very, very useful in the beginning, to be honest. So what is wrong with this? There's credentials, send templated email. Everything seems to be alright. Message ID, I think good. Refresh once more, but I actually don't have much hope that this actually got delivered by now. It's not delivering anymore. But why? This one neither. What could be the issue here? Let's check SES for a minute. Whether the validation was successful and all of that fun stuff. Yeah, all of these are verified, as you can see here. So what else do we have? Authentication, notifications. No. New identity status update. The identity status now represents the explicit verification of the identity itself. For the domain identities, this means verifying ownership through updates in the DNS record. And for the email address identities, this means opening the verification mail from no reply, blah, 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 and selecting the link to complete. So, okay, that's not useful for us. Why is this not reaching the target? What if we put something like hello here? Seriously? I don't know why this would be an issue, but just for the lols. We can try, right? We have nothing to lose at this point. Welcome to TypeScript Tea Time. Welcome to the TypeScript Tea Time newsletter. Thanks for signing up. With this, you will never miss a new blog post. Thanks. Come on, you can do it. Please. No? Nothing? Ah. This turns into a different stream than I was hoping to. Why is this not working? And why was it working the other day? all the more. Is this valid HTML, by the way? Maybe that's the issue. Try to render it. Render HTML online. Looks good. Yeah, looks very good. Just the way that I was hoping it would. That's not an issue. Or let's just verify that if I make a mistake here, for example. Oh, it still renders. So this one is not useful for HTML validator. I want to validate that the HTML actually works. Direct input. Back. So I take, okay, no doc type, no head. So this. Oh, there is. Thanks. Break. That definitely is a mistake. Uncode it. Are these backticks correctish? I think they are, because we have in here we are in the context of a JSON which has a string inside. Yeah, I think inside of here this is correct, but this one tag definitely was wrong. So let's hope that was the issue. Let's look at it once more. So H1, P, oh, man. Language mode, HTML, let's just do it manually here. P, break. Is that how you write breaks? I never do it manually. Root tag. Oh, you don't need to close it. That's so weird. These exceptions are like terrible, I find. Oh, this one is also wrong. Nice. I'm never able to actually remember these kind of exceptions. So here's another issue. There's a \p missing. Then we want a break. Do the breaks outside of paragraph tags work, right? If I remember correctly, they just create white space, vertical white space. Do they? And finally we have a P with an anchor tag. Yeah, it looks correctish. Alright, let's do this once more, so it's a one-liner. Then we put U inside of here. To there, I think. To unsubscribe, copy the following link into your browser. So, other address. Always a good idea to change other things while you're debugging. Not, don't do that. That's a stupid idea. So that one's running. Let me see one thing here. Are we actually sending the right email template? Email newsletter welcome. Yeah, we're sending the right email template. All right, Let's do this manually again. Can't be much worse, right? Like so. Come on, temp mail. You can do it. Do the thing. And if this is not working, I will check out actually another service for emails. Fake email. Nope. Fake email. Oh wow, that has like Comic Sans? I don't know. Interesting. Alright. Again, we have to verify our identity first, because we are in the debug mode. Create it. Should have an email right there. Oh boy. Oh, this is text only, huh? Okay. From there to there. Oh, I've missed the H. So, congratulations, very good. That worked. And now we can send this email here to Srihan blah blah blah. Hello, Peter. Good. We did get an email ID, so the sending should have worked in a sense, at least. I don't see anything just yet here. Refresh. That also doesn't work, huh? Delete you and you. Because I see that it's showing the password on screen. Showing password on screen is always great. It's not working. And I don't know why, I don't know. I don't know, I don't know. Why is this not working anymore? This one not working, this one not working. Is it even break in email HTML? The HTML, the blur element. Okay, that works apparently. Why is it not working anymore? That's annoying. And I also don't know how to actually verify. Or no, verify, I can verify it, I can test it, but I don't know how to debug it properly. Where is it lost? You don't have anything in here, right? AWS, SES, how to drag email. So to do this, We need to configure SES, which we have probably most of it. Amazon SNS and CloudWatch for monitoring email opens, clicks, and bounces. Ugh. Seriously? Before you begin, be sure that you've verified your domain. Maybe track is wrong. How to debug email sending. Troubleshooting. Verification problems, decom problems. List of common delivery problems that you might encounter when you send email along with corrective actions can be seen at SES delivery problems. That sounds promising. For description of issues recipients may see when they receive an email that was sent through. Okay. Bounce delivery complaint and stuff. SNTP, list of common error codes. Turn by the API. Right, now that seems alright. So, problem with emails received from CS. It was sent, so you might see when receiving emails that were sent from SES. Email client display sent via Amazon SES. We don't have that problem because we don't have an email. The message contains garbled or nonsense characters. Also not a problem for us. So let's go back to the delivery problems, which sounds more like what we're actually working with. When you make a successful request to SES, your message is often sent immediately. Often, by the way. The other times there might be a short delay. In any case, you can be assured that your email will be sent. It does not reach the target in our case, however. Loading. Yeah, none of our emails actually reach us. Okay, let's continue reading. So, if an email doesn't arrive, try the following. Verify that you made the send email or send raw email request for the email in question and that you received a successful response. We did that. We have our message ID. Read the blog article 3 places where your emails could get delayed when sending through SES. Because the problem might actually be a delay rather than a non-delivery. Okay. Check the sender's email address, the from address, to verify that it is valid. It should be. Let's double check. If we go to SES, we have TSTT time right there. And we have our sender source, TSTT@gmail.com. Yeah, there it is. Well, that's alright as well. Okay. Also not the issue. Then check the health dashboard. Let's try. No recent issues, but that doesn't mean anything. Let's be honest, on AWS the health dashboard is really not working as much as it should. There was one issue apparently with EC2 in Cape Town. Okay. AWS down reporter. Down detector. Hmm? No, it doesn't seem to be down. Right now, at least. Next. Contact the email recipient or the recipient ISP. Verify that the recipient is using the correct email address. And inquire whether there have been any known delivery problems with the recipient's ISP. Also determine whether the email did arrive but was filtered as spam. If you sign up for paid support plan, you can open a technical support case, which we don't have. Wait to see if the problem is actually a delay, not a permanent delivery failure. To combat spammers, some ISPs temporarily reject incoming messages. Oh, what happened? All of a sudden I'm like super tired. Even when you have a customer's best interest in mind, you might still encounter situations that impact the deliverability of your messages. Okay, no, none of these seem to be the problem that we actually have. We can try the following. Let me just send a regular email from my email address. Just a second here. All right. Can I send from here? No, cannot. Give it a second. And then again. AWS. Blah, blah. Oh. So these red compose. So we want to send to this friend here. Test. Hi. This is a test. Test whether the email is sent. There it is. Very good. So that works. Actually, that's not very good. Because it means everything works on that front. Meaning the problem is actually our problem. All right. What is going on here? Why is this not working anymore? Even though it was working like a day ago. Just delete this email here. Why can we not send anymore? Let me maybe... I take... Oops, no. You. We actually change the source email. To be this instead. Whom did I send this to? To this email here. Fresh. How did we actually reach this state? We were actually checking for this unsubscribe link. Let's try that. We copy this one and we actually throw out the unsubscribe link. It would be very, very ridiculous if this fixes it. Then again, I wouldn't even blame anybody. So, and then we take TypeScript ttime at email.com here again. Come on, you can do it, SES. I know you're a big boy already. It doesn't even hurt. You just have to send the email. It's all good. You can do it. Amazon, AWS, SES. Seriously, it's as simply as sending an email. Come on, you can do it. Be a good boy. Oh man, it's not working. But why? How to track message ID AWS SES. Oh wait. Email sent 3 remaining 1797. Okay, no, never mind. I was kind of worried that this might be the problem, but it's not. Apparently we have 0 rejects, at least according to this, yeah. But I'm not sure whether this is actually tracking anything. We do have a couple of sends. Can we see more inside of CloudWatch, which is the log service from AWS? Labeling jobs, studio, transform jobs, SageMaker. It doesn't even include it inside of here, does it? Nope. Oh. Browse the data. Delivery. We have 2 deliveries up here on the 13th, 14th. But we have 0 deliveries here on the 15th. Why do we get rendering errors? Oh, look at that. That's why. Ah, so there is an endpoint in the version 2 at least of we found it. So the way that we were able to debug our problem is by going to the account. So inside of the SES console, we went to account dashboards, and then we see our statistics here. And in particular, you can look at it inside of CloudFront, and you land somewhere, I think inside of Graph Metrics. But if you go to browse, you can look at the detailed stuff that actually happened. And enabling the rendering failure, we see that we actually have 2 rendering failures right there. We could have avoided this by using the API version 2, CSV2, I think. Oh, I still have this inside of there. There is something like test render email template. And we can creates a preview of the MIME content of an email when provided with a template and a set of replacement data. Let's try this. Which means we do something like AWS SES v2 test render email template, and we call it with template name being email newsletter welcome, and template data email, let's just say hello here, which is I think what we've used. I need a backtick there. Forward slash, I don't know. Let's do it. And that seemed to have worked. Wait, did it? Rendered version, blah blah blah. And we also have an unsubscribed link in here. Ah, that's the way that we can actually look at it. Very good, very good, very good. That's useful. Let's take that into this one here as well. Test welcome. Test render. The welcome email. This looks good, however. Right? So, tell what he says. Email. Why does it error? It's now the question. Copy the following link into your browser. Something address bar. Render template. Come on, I want to copy all of you. This as well. So let's get rid of this and that. And this one. So let's check email MIME validator. I don't know. Online. time file type. Content type text plain. Content type. So if we replace, what is \r? Okay. Character. Carriage return. Which one is carriage return? The one with shift, right? Or it's just the regular one? It's also a tab. So is this now broken or is it actually working? Wait, we got 2 errors and we got 2 sends. Let's send another one. At this point, I'm not sure what the nothing. We just sent this. That seemed to have worked. Now, CloudFront, please update. This may take a moment until we actually see anything inside of here, unfortunately. 1 hour. Two cents at 11, so which was 13 o'clock then? If this is UTC. Why are you not working? Also, please show the new status. I would very much appreciate it. This is SES, yeah, account metrics. Sounds about right. Sound delivery. I don't know. So the question that I have is send and rendered failure distinct? Or is it first sending and then rendering, which means these are actually the same two? Or do we have like 2 actually sent and 2 different ones actually rendered, failed to render? How does a render fail actually look like? I have no idea. Can say something like, well, so while we're waiting for the other one, So let's do that, and now we test render, and this gives us an error. Okay, so this is how we that just means, so I think it's just saying HESF is not here. So if we add that HESF I, that renders again, even though it's not valid. It is not valid HTML, sorry. Does this one look like a valid HTML? H1, P. Let's do the thing. Meaning, I throw everything out up to the point where I know it should be working. Up to the point where I know it should be working. We use the H1, and after that we don't use anything. Up to there. It's just an H1. Actually, let's even remove the H1. I don't even want the H1 to be inside of there. Do that. Now we test render this dude. Looking good. Looking good. And now we send an email again. Who did I send this? Did I send this to Reware, which is this one, right? Yeah. There it is. Our HTML is wrong all this time. Oh. Okay. So what did we learn from this experiment? Write proper HTML. If you don't do it, it will not reach the sender. AWS SES will still say, oh, it's sent. But it never seems to reach actually the... Yeah, and this is the newest one, the last one that I've actually sent. Okay. What else did we learn? We learned that if you go to your account dashboard inside of AWS SES, and you scroll down, you see some statistics in here, particularly the send statistics, and there you have a link, view in CloudWatch. And inside of CloudWatch, which is the AWS logging and log tracking service, you can go to browse, the browse tab right here, and then mark all of the different metrics to see what actually happened with your email. Not sure whether it by default also tracks bounce rates and complaint rate, but it definitely did track our sending and our rendered email. Be aware that this is not 100% live updated. So as you can see here, we currently here have like 2 sends and 2 render fails, and we don't see the newest data just yet. It will only be injected from time to time. It seems to be like every hour, maybe, but I can only guess. Just judging from what we have at this point here. All right. Good. So, and then if it does not work, try to minimize as much as possible up to the point where you think, well, there's definitely nothing wrong with this. I'm absolutely sure. and then try it again. And if it doesn't work, if the bug is still there with that one, well, then I don't know. It must be something else. If you find that it now works, you can then kind of start to add stuff until you find the point where it actually broke again. Just yesterday in fact, I read a blog post about Crash Bandicoot. Crash Bandicoot Quantum Bug. Which is a very, very nice article. I will share it with you. That I found thanks to Twitter. It's a bit older, but if you've ever played, no, thank you. If you've played Crash Bandicoot, this is a very, very fun story. The very, very first Crash Bandicoot, in fact. And Dave Beckett is apparently the first employee that Naughty Dog, the company behind Crash Bandicoot, ever had. And he was one of the 2 programmers on the Crash Bandicoot game. And he in fact discovered a hardware bug programmed into the PlayStation hardware while he was actually working on saving, which is very, 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 very fun. And he also says something like, the challenge with this blah blah. Yeah, about the only thing you can do when you run out of ideas debugging is divide and conquer. And yeah, in particular, if you run out of ideas, that's one of the nice things, or one of the last stands, kind of. Keep removing more and more of the erroring program's code until you've left with something relatively small that still exhibits the problem. You keep carving parts away until the only stuff left is where the bug is. In my case, I basically did this now with I reduced it to a version where I'm absolutely sure it should work, and now I have the broken version, which is the full version. I have the very, very stripped off version, and now I can kind of do a binary search to find where it's actually wrong, or maybe just find the bug. It's just I would also appreciate just finding the bug. I won't say no to that. So let's see here. Welcome to the TypeScript Tea Time is still there. Let's first do the text part. Yeah. Let's first add the text part and see whether that works. Do it. And then we send. Was that the test render? Yeah, that was a test render. I want to send. There we go. That's the old one. And hopefully we have an email in a minute or two. If not, we know that this part of the templating is actually broken as well. Which at this point is only text. You might already have found the error. Since we do not receive anything at this point, let me carve out this automatically added link. and update the template once more. And again, send the email. Do I look at the right inbox? Yeah, I do. Okay. One more check. Nothing. Send the email with the reduced version now. And there it is. This one is sending again. So this friend of ours is not working the way that we want it to. Now to the fun part. Actually adding the email again. HTML part, there it is. Come on, you can do it. There you go. Let's carve out the email part. Sorry, the unsubscribe part. And this should still work, I hope. And the email. We're burning through our contingent. Oh, there it was. I think I've seen it for just a second. Yeah, there's our email. That one works. Now try to add the email link. First we do it, I think, like so, to see whether that works. Actually, the other one is more of a problem, I think. Oops. Oops. So. Send the email. And loading. That didn't reach us either. So here's the thought. Although, is it maybe because we're using SES version 1 to send the templated email instead of version 2? I didn't, so the reason why I'm using SES version 1 instead of 2 to send the email, the templated email, is that we did not get version 2 running. It always complained that we need to provide a source, but it also didn't tell us how we actually provide a source. The CLI just didn't have any kind of parameter that indicated that, except for from email addresses. Or from email address, which we used, but it still didn't work. It still complained. So that's why we switched down to version 1 instead of 2. Maybe the problem is with just that we are using the wrong API version for this. Although, I don't know. Yeah, it might be. Stop. Internally, they seem to be the same endpoint, in fact. But I don't know. 100%. Alright, that means... Well, we cannot do this. Can we do this instead? My guess is no. My guess is very, very much no. We might want to render this for just a sec. This might not work. Oh no, this is also inside of a JSON. That's why they have to escape the ticks here as well. Okay, so it might actually work. I don't know. Let's do it and see whether it reaches us. Please reach us. Although it would be very, very weird if it all of a sudden it reaches us. Yeah, I think it doesn't like the unsubscribe URL. Maybe because we used the wrong API version. But again, I was not able to make the other one running. We can maybe SESV2 send email. Yeah, we tried to use something like this, but whatever I was doing, it did not work. I mean, we can try once more so that you at least know what I'm talking about. This should be fine. This should be fine. Template ARN. It's weird that we have to provide this twice, but whatever. Yeah, source cannot be empty. That's what it's saying. I think we can do -- debug, but inside of there you also don't find the where it would use the source. We get a request here. And we call version 2 email outbound emails. Maybe if we look for this, AWS source cannot be empty. And maybe it's because my version of the AWS CLI is too old. Right. And now I have to actually change my credentials. Fun stuff. Source. Email address is not verified. Could apply to the form, blah, blah, blah. No, none of that. What we were looking for. All right, at the very least, we now got a decision in terms of whether we want to use this SES inbuilt unsubscribe link. The answer is no, it did not work for us. Possibly because we're using the API, the wrong API version, which in itself is a problem that, for whatever reason, the API version 2 for us is broken. All right. I think with that, I will end right here. I will go back to IAM to actually unset my credentials. Yeah, so if you want to see how that looks like, I can show you now, because in the IAM console, the Identity and Access Management console, you go to users, you take your user, click on it, and then you go to security credentials. And down here you have the access keys, and you can just say, make it inactive. Goodbye. And now nobody can call it anymore. In fact, I will just delete it. Yeah, after I created a new one. And you can create a new one by just clicking on there and then copy and paste this before you close the window into your console. I will actually remove this one again so you don't see it when I create this. Great. All right. So thank you so much for joining. We learned something about SES. At the very least, we learned how to better debug step functions and how to better debug SES. So that's a win in a sense. Within 1.5 hours, I think that's still an okay-ish price for the learnings that we had. We got a decision, which is don't use it. Nope. Possibly not working with V1, SES V1. Maybe it works with SES V2, but we cannot, but it errors for us. But send email SES V2. Send email errors for us. So we got that decision. That's the same. And then the next thing that we will be doing, but not now, is implement unsubscribe via step functions. I don't know, maybe I will be streaming again later today, but I cannot promise. It depends a bit on my mood. But we got to work 2 hours, which is not too terrible. Yeah, which is not too terrible. For now, I will take a break. So thank you so much for joining. This is the TypeScript Tea Time. I'm your host, Mirko. If you've liked what you've seen, please feel free to follow. You can also follow on stuff like Twitter, where I'm active recently. Or more active recently, and in particular, you probably more often have Twitter open than you have Twitch open, I suppose. So yeah, with that out of the way, I thank you so much for joining. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you so much. Bye, everybody.